I'd like to introduce myself. My name's Jeremy Moore. I live pretty close to here. This is kind of a hometown seminar for me. It's pretty nice to be home for a weekend. But I live about 15 minutes north here. I live up in North Chase. We have a company, it's called Dogbone. We sell training products for training shed dogs. And obviously today we're going to talk about shed dog training stuff. What I want to do is, the big thing I want to get across is this is not a specialty thing. A lot of people are really intimidated by the idea of it. We're in our booth and we have a lot of people come up and we hear a lot of questions over and over and over again, a lot of the same ones. So to give you, just to let you guys know, I talk pretty fast and I only got an hour. And we're not going to cover everything to teach you how to train your dog in an hour. What I want to try to do is I want to let you guys know kind of an idea of how we go about it, the mindset that we put ourselves in to set up a schedule or a plan to train these little dogs. Now, we're going to use dogs. I'll give my disclaimer early here. I use dogs that are in training. These are clients' dogs. These aren't my personal dogs. They're not finished by any means. And what it is I run a risk with it. The reason I say that, the reason I do a disclaimer is because, I'll be honest with you, these little guys are probably going to make some mistakes here, okay? That's fine. The important part about it, I used to be in the same position as you guys. I used to sit and listen to a lot of seminars. I used to read all the books, I read all the DVDs. I tried to get all the information I could on dog training stuff. Now, this was before the shed hunting thing. This is before I was doing the shed hunting thing. My history with the shed hunting with the dogs is this. I used to train gun dogs. I used to train bird dogs. I used to train a lot of pheasant dogs, a lot of duck dogs. I started like 13 years ago. About 5 years ago, I got to the point where in the fall, I'm a deer guy. I think about deer every day, all day. I'm obsessed with it. I got to the point in the fall where I didn't have time to do both right. So what I did was I quit the bird hunting. Well, I really enjoyed training gun dogs. And I had trained several dogs for myself, several dogs for friends, and I ended up starting to do it kind of on the side. I had a construction job, so I was doing this as a total hobby. I got to the point where I decided, you know what, I want to focus on deer. I put aside the bird hunting thing, and as I went every morning to go sit in my deer stand, I walked past that 8-year-old lab of mine, and she looked at me, and she knew what was going on. I wasn't taking her hunting. I felt horrible about it. So I started thinking, I thought, well, how can I like training dogs. How can I use that dog to help me with my deer hunting stuff? Now, I shed hunted for years before, not with a lot of success. I mean, I found a few horns, but not very many. I had read about and heard about guys using their dogs to shed hunt. So what I did was I Googled it. I went on a computer, I tried to get as much information as I could. I did that, and I took that 8-year-old dog, and I started working her on sheds. I used a lot of the same style of training that I had with a pheasant dog, because when you think about what a pheasant dog does and what a shed dog does, they're very similar. So I started going back to my pheasant dog background. How am I going to get this little shed dog to work for me? I went through it. I got through it. We actually picked up 75 sheds the first year with that dog. I was hooked. At that point, I thought, this is the way to do it. Now, I went and bought a pup, and I bought that pup as the first one. She's actually the mom of these two dogs, and I'll introduce these dogs in a minute. Hey, enough. So it's the mom of these two dogs. She's my personal dog. I bought her as a shed dog, puppy, 7 weeks old. Went through the first 4 or 5 months of training, same as I would my bird dogs or gun dogs, a lot of obedience. We're going to talk a little bit about obedience here because it is somewhat important, but we're obviously talking, I always say that, we're going to talk about obedience, and I just see the crowd deflate. Oh, he's going to tell me how to do heel, sit, stay. That's not why you didn't come here. You came here to talk about shed hunting. We'll get to that, but all good working dogs have one thing in common. I don't care if they're police dogs, drug dogs, bomb dogs, whatever they are. They all have a good core obedience, and that's heel, sit, stay, and here. Those 4 things transition into the field for formal training. So we do have to have that stuff. We're going to talk about it with this little pup here in a minute, and how we're entrenching some good habits with her today that will end up transitioning into the field later. But, so I get that little puppy, right? I get her to the point where we're going to start retrieving. Now, I started her with a balled up sock in the hallway, and we'll talk about that in a minute with the pup. I took a shed antler for her for the first time, and I threw it for her. She ran up to it with a lot of excitement. Now envision a 6-month-old dog. These dogs are a year old, a little over a year old, a little bit smaller than that, a little bit clumsy, small, sensitive face, sensitive eyes. She runs up to that antler and she poked herself. She rolled right over. Yep. My dog wanted nothing to do with a shed antler. Here's a hard horn. Dog never saw this before, was very excited about retrieving, hit it and hated it. I'd pick up a shed antler, she'd go in the other room. She didn't want anything to do with them. Now, here I sit. I just paid a bunch of money for a dog. I'm super excited about having this shed dog that I'm going to train from puppy on, and I got a dog that's afraid of sheds. Gun-shy dogs. You ever hear of a gun-shy dog? Well, there's a lot of them out there. They're not born gun-shy. They're conditioned to be gun-shy. I cannot take that risk with my little shed dog. So my little wheels start turning, and I think, geez, got to be a better way to do this. We came out with this. This is soft, okay? It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to hurt my little pup. And I'm going to show you the steps that we take with this little dog today to start imprinting into her mind right now. This thing right here is going to be fun. This thing's going to be good. It's going to be positive. So that's an important part of what some of the tools that we use to do this. Now, these pups right here, I'll introduce the dogs to you. This yellow dog is named Artie. Artie belongs, these are client dogs. These aren't my personal dogs. My personal dogs are, one of them's down in Mississippi at the kennel right now, hopefully being bred. The other personal dog of mine is retired. She's sleeping. She's on the couch right now. These are dogs that belong to my clients. So that yellow dog right there is going to an outfitter in Alabama. He's a whitetail outfitter. Now we're training that dog to track and trail. We're also training it as a shed dog. The black dog right there is her sister. She's going to a high-fenced deer farm here in Wisconsin. Same thing, tracking and shed hunting. This little puppy right here is named Simmer. So her name's Browtine, the black one. Yellow one's Artie. This little fox red pup is 10 weeks old. She is going to a family in North Carolina. We met him last year at the Dixie Deer Classic. We did seminars for him on shed hunting. They put a deposit down. We're just getting started on their pup. I train 4 or 5 dogs a year. I'm not a kennel. I don't breed the dogs. Breeding dogs is an art. I buy the best dogs I can get. I buy the best dogs I can get for my clients. These dogs come from a kennel called Wild Rose Kennels. Okay, here's a big question that people ask me. Do I have to have a lab to do this? Answer is simple. Absolutely not. I know guys who shed hunt with shepherds, beagles, spaniels, pointing dogs. I got a picture on our Facebook page of a guy that's got some type of a little terrier, it's a little dog, laying all around all these sheds. He says, this is my little shed dog. I emailed him back and said, hey, thank you for that picture, because I get so many people that say, do I have to have the lab? I like labs. They're my preference. The reason I like labs is they're easy to train. The reason I like labs is they have inherent traits that are going to make my job a whole lot easier. My preference is English labs. These come from Wild Rose Kennels. They're in Oxford, Mississippi. We can talk about the dogs anytime. And the other thing is, if you guys have any questions, just interrupt me and ask me. I'll answer them right on the spot. But these dogs are English labs, bred for real natural game finding ability. They're a little bit smaller, very good temperament. That's just my style. Buy a dog that fits your style. 5-person family doesn't buy a 2-seat sports car. Just doesn't fit what they're going to do with them. Same's true with these dogs. So I like these little labs. They have natural retrieve. When I start out this little pup, here's how we're going to do it. We've tried to break it down and make it simple because, like I said, I used to be you guys. I used to be sitting there listening to guys do seminars. And I'll tell you what, I used to watch seminars with guys, and they'd come up with finished dogs, their own personal finished dogs. And they'd say, you know, they'd tell me how to do it. They'd tell me how to do it pretty, not real detailed. Then they'd take the dog and they'd send it out on sheds. He'd pick up sheds, he'd retrieve them, he'd do all this stuff. And then I'd go home so excited about this, and I'd say, I'm going to do that with my dog. I go in the backyard and I send the dog on the retrieve, and she doesn't do exactly what that dog did on the stage. What do I do now? That's why we're using these dogs. They will make mistakes like your dog will. Now, how do we correct it? How do we fix it? So the way we do it is we've tried to break it down and make it easy. Because like I said, this isn't rocket science. If you can train a pheasant dog, you can train a shed dog. What does a pheasant dog do? Goes out, quarters and casts, 25, 35 yards. Within gun range, uses his nose, uses his eyes, flushes something and retrieves it. What does my shed dog do? 25 to 35 yards, casts and quarters, smells it, sees it, makes the retrieve. Very, very similar. A lot of people ask the question, can I have a bird dog and a shed dog at the same time? Absolutely yes. These dogs come from the kennel that breeds the Ducks Unlimited dog. They're gun dogs by nature. We use them for shed hunting. You can use a duck dog to pheasant hunt with? Absolutely. Everyone will agree with that. Those skill sets are totally different. I train my duck dog different than I do my pheasant dog, but the same dog can do it. Same is true with a shed dog and a bird dog. These guys shed hunt for me 3 months out of the year. They track for me in the fall 3 months, 4 months out of the year. They're family dogs 12 months out of the year. So they're super, super versatile dogs. That's why you can use them to do just about anything. What we do is we try to condition in the shape of the antler first. It's the easiest part of this, okay? That dog loves to retrieve. I should ask, who's got dogs here? I'm assuming most of you do or you wouldn't be here. So a lot of people, big percentage of the people here have dogs. Who's got really young dogs? How old?
8 weeks on Monday.
8 weeks. We got a good one here for you. How old?
5 months.
5 months, pup. Here's the 5-month one. I'm totally out of line with the way I usually do the seminar, but 5 months, so I don't forget. 5 months, between 4 and 6 months, pup's gonna teeth, losing the puppy teeth. We stop all retrieving during that teething point. Here's why. What we're doing with this dog today is forming good habits. We're gonna start conditioning. Dogs learn, easy thing about dogs. They learn by what we call classic conditioning. Pavlov rings a bell, dogs drool, right? My little dogs learn the exact same way. What we're doing is we're forming good habits. The way we form habits is you can also form bad habits. So be careful, that's the thing we want to avoid. It takes 10 times as long to train a bad habit out of a dog than it does a good habit in. That's why I like these little pups. They're pretty blank slates. They don't have a lot of bad habits yet. But what we're going to do is form habits by repetition and consistency, doing something over and over and over again. People ask, how long does it take to train that dog? It takes a while. It doesn't take big increments of time. I can turn out a really nice dog, on average 15 minutes a day, 3 times a week. People, what? You know, how can you do that? Here's what we do. We study and we focus on specific stuff during that window of time, 15 minutes, 3 times a week. I reinforce it in between lessons constantly. Now, when I say 15 minutes, I'm talking about an older dog. Those dogs right there, I can get good 15 minutes of focus out of them. Not much more. They're a year old. That one right there, I'm lucky to get 2 seconds. You're lucky to get 2 seconds of focus out of that dog. But right now is when the habits are going to start being formed. They're going to be with them for the rest of their life. Start entrenching the good ones. This shape right here is going to be a good thing for my dog, okay? Here's how we're going to do it. Shape first. I start that dog out with a balled up sock in the hallway. No different than I would train my pheasant dog. I start him with a balled up sock in the hallway. I close all the doors, and I take that little ball and I kind of tease them with it, and I roll it down, and they'll run and get it, and they'll bring it back to me. Natural retrieve. She's got it. That's stuff I don't have to train her. What I have to train is the formal part of it, delivery to hand. I want to train, that all comes back to a lot of fundamentals, good recall, good hear command. So we're going to use her, and I'm going to show you how we're going to introduce this dog. She's 10 weeks old. She's been doing this for about a week, so it's not the first time. I'm going to take these two. I wish they'd just relax a little bit, but this is bred into them. I wish I could say, oh, it's all my training. It's not. A lot of this is bred into them. Very calm dogs. Come on. We're going to have Artie. We got my head trainers here. This is my son, Mason. This is Carson Reeve, Mason's good buddy. They're going to help us with these dogs. Now, you guys can sit right there. I just want to have them sit there. Here's this little pup, okay? We do a lot of stuff with this little pup today that's going to help us down the road. I'm going to show you a few things. We're going to talk a little bit about obedience. I won't bore you with it this whole time, but it is really important. Now, what we're going to do is, you hold here. I'm going to show you how we get that little dog at 10 weeks. Here's one for you, okay? At the kennel, they feed their dogs 3 times a day probably, 2-3 times, okay? My little dogs, when they come home, that little dog, the highlight of her day is when she gets fed. This is the best, okay? Food is very motivational for a young dog. They live for this stuff. So what I do is I use this as an opportunity to train. Now we're totally out of schedule with her right now. She doesn't eat at 11:30 in the afternoon or whatever time it is right now. She eats in the morning, she eats in the evening. She'll still eat in the afternoon, I can guarantee you. So what we do is twice a day I get a lesson with my dog. It doesn't take me any extra time. This is the thing when people ask, I don't have time for this. Do you have time to feed your dog? You have time to train your dog, especially that dog. So we get this little dog, and I got her attention now. We can get this little dog to sit and stay pretty quick. Now, at the kennel, when you're wherever you bought the dog from, when they went and took the food bowl and they scooped up the food, it made the exact same sound as it makes at your house. It's a conditioned response already. For half of this dog's life, from about 4 weeks till when you pick it up at 7 weeks, it's been weaned off onto solid food. Best time of the day, man. You're really going to get a lot of focus out of them now. So make the same noise, get ready, and what happens is when I picked her up at 7 weeks, I'd go get the food ready and she'd go nuts. She's bouncing around the floor like I've never seen energy before. That dog is really excited to eat. If I feed her at that moment, I'm reinforcing the action she just did. I don't want, it goes back to that duck dog and that shed dog. If you're gonna do both, I want a duck dog. What do I want with a duck dog? I want a real steady dog, right? I want a dog that's steady to shot. My little shed dog, I want a lot of control over when she gets older. So I don't want a dog wound up real wild. We calm them down this way. Get the food ready. I get down on the ground with my pup. I don't know if everyone can see this. I'm gonna take this food, and early on, this little dog's freaking out in my arms. She is going nuts. If I feed her, I'm reinforcing that action. Whatever, it's timing. It's all about timing with my dog. I'll set, and you're gonna see, how wound up is she right now? Not very. The reason is she's learned in a short time, the calmer, quieter, and steadier she is, quicker she gets to eat. It's just, we're getting her to the point where we're gonna have this little dog sitting and staying for us within a week or so. I get the food ready, I set it down, she's gonna flip out. As soon as she stops flipping out, I would set her down and I'd let her eat. That's how we started it out. This is incremental training. We're not going from A to Z with this dog. We're going from A to B, B to C, C to D. We're gonna get to Z. We do incremental training. Everything we do with our shed dogs, everything we do with any of our dogs, step by step by step. Change it just a little bit, add a little bit of difficulty. Don't test dogs, train them. So here's what we're gonna do. She doesn't freak out, we set her down, she eats. Now we're to the point where we can take the dog and we can touch her feet to the ground. And she's gonna really get going now because every time before her feet hit the ground, she went and ate. We're to the point now we're past that. She's pretty steady. We just started this last week. We're gonna put a little bit of pressure on her and her butt's gonna hit the ground. Eight. Good. Simmer, simmer. Now, I just said simmer. I said her name. She goes and eats. That's her reward. Good. Now, I'll show you it again. Here's what we do. Now, she was distracted. This is not the best training situation with 50 people watching her in a totally new environment. Totally different. You're gonna get a lot better focus in your kitchen where you feed them every single time or wherever it is you do that. But what we will do is, now watch how I line the dog up and I say her name and I give her a little bit of a snap. Okay, that's how I send her. You're thinking, what in the world does this have to do with shed hunting? You're gonna see it in a little bit when I use an older dog and I send her on their retrieves. Because right now, I'm forming a bunch of habits. This is the habit that I'm forming. Calm, steady dog gets to get the treat. Today it's food. In a few months, it's gonna be a retrieve. When I line, brow time. Now, that dog's got a nose. I dropped a piece of food and she wants it, okay? Good nose on that one. Natural game finding ability. When this dog sits steady and calm, I'm gonna send her like I'm gonna send these dogs in a few months. We'll show you it again. Now, 10-week-old pup, I talk really loud and I talk really fast because I'm trying to let you guys hear me. I'm gonna be real quiet when I set this dog down because this dog keys off of me. Slow yourself down with your training because the dog's gonna feed off of you. If you're really wound up, I'm a pretty wound up person. I have to tell myself, slow down, be patient, make haste slowly is what these guys that I train with down south say. So we take this dog, sit, good. Now watch my hand. Where's her eyes? She's really focused on this. Simmer, 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 good. Simmer, simmer, good, good, good. She's really hesitant right now. She's unsure of whether she's supposed to go or not. Confidence. We'll build her confidence up. Here's how we'll do it. We'll get her excited. I'll pick my tone of voice up a little bit. Sit. Good. Simmer. Simmer. Good. Good girl. Good girl. I'll get excited. Good girl. You're good. Watch how we'll do this a couple times and she'll start to go for me. Good girl. Good girl. Good. Now, you see how she's struggling to eat this right now? I normally put water on it, wet it up a little bit, form a good habit. I don't want a dog to struggle to eat. I want him to eat quick. So make it easier for him. I'll water it down. We're not doing that today, but sit. Good. 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 Simmer. 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 Good girl. Good girl. Now she's distracted. I can tell her distraction is right here with that dog. Good girl. This is the way I get little dogs at 10 weeks old to sit and stay. And the reason is because I feed them twice a day. I got 2 lessons in. Why am I talking about sitting and stay with a shed dog? Because I'm going to show you what we're doing now with the older dogs. We'll use little Artie here. Now, of these two dogs, they're sisters. Of these two dogs, they have totally different personalities. I'm going to retrieve right through here, you guys.
Oh, okay.
So that you're all right, though. If you can just back up just a little bit. Here's what we're going to do. Now we're going to talk about the shape of this antler. Food is good for that little dog. This is really good for this dog. And you can see, when we get it up, read my dog's body language. She's pretty focused. You're going to see a lot of tail wagging. You're going to see a lot of excitement. That one is way more hesitant about things than this one. This one's a little more bold. Difference in personality in dogs. Now, here's why my steadiness is important. For you guys that are duck hunters or bird hunters, you'll appreciate this. Sit. So we start out, and we're going to do her in a little bit. We're going to let her rest for a second. Then we're going to do retrieves with her, and I'll show you the dog get excited. Part of it, too, is that's a whole new environment. This whole environment is important about the training. This isn't the best place to train dogs. I can tell you that right now. But we'll get through it. But we got to build their confidence up in here because the dog has to have confidence in order to learn. Here's how we're going to start. Now, remember, watch this dog come up to this horn. She's not going to hurt herself. Guarantee it. It's going to be positive. Now, we call these marks. Where'd my dog go? Nowhere. She's steady. She's pretty steady. We build that steadiness up all the time. That's a good duck dog right there. She's not even a duck hunter, but she's got the makings of a real nice duck dog. She's not going anywhere. Reason is because we do this over and over. I call these denials. I'll throw them and go pick them up myself. She thinks, God, Dad, this is not that much fun. That's all right. We're not in a hurry to get her excited. Calm dog by nature, don't spin them up. Tough to take a hyper dog by nature and calm them down. You can take a calm dog by nature and spin them up. I don't want to do that. So she wags her tail. She gives me the old, is it my turn already? So here's what we're going to do with the old dog. Simple. I don't hardly ever do this with them anymore. Artie. And I send her on her little retrieve, and here she comes. Good girl, come on. Good girl. And look at the tail. Read that dog's body language to tell me she doesn't love the shed antler, right? Good. Here's the thing. She's been bred for hundreds of years to have a soft mouth. I have had so many guys tell me not only the poke thing, but what happens is the first time dogs go up to sheds, they pick them up and they spit them out. Pick them up, they spit them out. Pick them up, they spit them out. I call that blinking. I don't want a dog blinking. What's happening is we got a dog that's forming habits. The wrong habit, the habit of picking up, spitting out, picking up, spitting out. Part of that is because they have soft mouths, and these are hard horns, and soft mouths and hard horns don't go together real well. What I want to do is the first time she picks up this shape of an antler, I want her to love it. This feels good in her mouth. This is made out of the same material as real familiar bird dog training dummies. Those are made for a reason. Soft-mouthed dogs, feels good in their mouth. Soft-mouthed dog, feels good in her mouth. Not gonna poke her. You see her kind of fumble around with it a little bit. She's picked it up hundreds of times and she's still learning the exact way to pick them up. My little dogs aren't nearly as good at that and they will poke themselves. That's why we're gonna use this shape. So we do these little marks, lots of them. We'll use this little pup and I'll show you a real good example of why we're using it with the young dog because she'll really fumble around with it. But it's important because the thing about this is we're making an impression on this little dog today to love this shape. It goes back to step one, shape of the antler. Now we'll get her excited. And now, my dog right there had to stay pretty calm and steady. This one, I don't care if she breaks because right now we're more important with making retrieves and having fun than we are steadiness. We can steady up a dog later. What is that? What is that? What is that? Good girl, come on, good girl, you're good. Come on, come on, come on. Good, you're a good girl. Come on, good girl. That's real good. You saw her fumble around with it. Now, I didn't do this with her until she could pick this up. Don't take a little dog and force him to struggle because, God, that's just not that fun, Dad. And what they'll do is they'll quit on you. And now what habit did you form? Early on, I can't quite do it, I'm gonna quit. I don't want that. We start out with a balled up sock. I guarantee you she'll pick up a balled up sock. Her teeth are like needles. Hey, her teeth are like needles. They bite into that balled up sock, she can't hardly spit it out. That's what we like. So we're gonna get her going again. Oh, you're good. Good girl. Good girl, come on. Good girl, she says. What are you barking at? Come on, come on, come on. Good girl, come on. Good, good. Now, distractions. Lots of them here. I'm coming unwired. We got all sorts of stuff going on. Distractions. We don't do this for the first time in this situation. We probably shouldn't be doing it in this situation to begin with, but we're gonna. What we do is we do that balled up sock in the hallway thing. We do it with this. No distractions. One habit you want to avoid is chase. Chase is a lot more fun than retrieving to a young dog. Keep away? Who wants to play keep away? A lot of dogs want to play keep away rather than bring it back to dad. That habit formed is hard to change. Don't get into that habit. The way you avoid that is put them in a hallway. They're going to go to the other end, and where are they going to go? They got nowhere to go. They don't want to sit still. They got to do something. They'll come back to you. Do that over and over and over. You start forming that habit. So, sit. So, that's why we use this with this dog. We get to these older dogs. We got a real gong show going on over here. Okay, now we're going to do the next step. We're still on shape. Now, I'll start using scent pretty quick with this. And your scent is easy. It's a liquid scent. Take it out, we put it on here, and we run it the surface area of this antler. More surface area, the more smell you're going to get out. This is for training. You put antler scent on this dummy. I make this myself. You put that on there, it doesn't smell like an antler. It smells like 100 antlers. The reason is because it's concentrated. It really smells. This is to set them up for success. When you put pheasant scent on a pheasant dummy, it doesn't smell like a pheasant. It smells like 100 pheasants. Make sure they're successful. We want them using their nose because my dog's really smart. And if you don't force him to use his nose, he'll get really lazy really quick. He's just like us. Why work harder? So he'll quit using his nose and he'll start using his eyes, 100%. So we start putting the scent on after they're pretty confident visually. Now, we threw it. Dog did fine, made a lot of retrieves. That's predator-prey, natural instinct. The biggest thing I get, one of the biggest questions I get is, dog, I'll throw it all day long. My dog's awesome. My dog, I'll throw it and she'll retrieve it perfect. But when I walk up to a shed that's laying on the ground, they smell it, they just walk right by. They won't pick it up. Way too big of a gap. You went from A to Z and you expected your dog to be able to do it. They don't do it that way. That incremental training, when I got her that I just got her to touch her feet to the ground, when I just got her to sit her butt on the ground, that was incremental to get her to stay. This is how we do the incremental training. It's a big one. We call it trailing memory, okay? Heel. Now you saw us do a couple retrieves here. And imagine yourself, you've done it now for a couple weeks in your yard. Sit. Notice the eyes. She's really focused. You saw the eyes with her. She's really focused. You got to have a relationship like this with your dog. And it comes from working with them. She's focusing on my hands. My little dogs come and I give them a little piece of food. That's why she focuses on my hands. So the trailing memory. I walk up. I drop the dummy. I line her up the exact same way that I would have lined her up for a retrieve. But I say, no, heel. I say, no, heel. And I heel her back. This is where the obedience comes in. I got to have a dog who can heel to do this. She comes back. I get her to sit. We're steadied. Now, the first time we do this trailing memory, I don't do this. I heel her back about 5 feet. I turn around and I send her right away. Now we add a little distance. We add a little time. But I line her up now, Artie. And I send her on the retrieves. Good girl. Come on. My little dogs come to the whistle, so that's what we do when they're coming back. Good. Good. Sit. Now, you're going to say, what's different about that than what he just did before? Why is this such a big step? The difference is, I didn't throw it this time. This time it's sitting on the ground. We put a little bit of delay in there. So that trailing memory bridges the gap from a shed laying on the ground to me throwing it. I'm never going to throw a shed and have my dog, they're never going to see one fall off of a deer's antler and go deer's head and go get it. So we got to train for the situation we're going to have. We take that step. Really important. Trailing memories. We can go from trailing memories like that to trailing memory doubles, to trailing memory triples. That's why I got a bunch of these in my bag, okay? So very, very similar to what we would do with gun dogs or bird dogs as well. This makes for a steady dog. You want a duck dog that's steady, don't throw marks for them all day long because they end up creeping, they end up breaking. These are steady drills. So heel, These are the shape thing. Now remember, I put scent on it that time. We're gonna start them on scent too. The scent thing is next. Shape first, scent second. Here's how we do it. Tennis balls. What does a tennis ball have to do with a shed antler? What does a tennis ball have to do with a pheasant? Nothing. But when we train pheasant dogs, I use these all the time. I put pheasant scent on this green tennis ball and I roll it across the grass. And I let my dog track it into cover, pick it up, bring it back. Green tennis ball, green grass. Artie, get up. Get up. So we take this, sit. Where's she smelling? Right where I put the food. Don't tell me my dogs don't have good noses. Sit down. So I'll take this scent, I'll put it on a tennis ball, and I use it. Hey. I put it on, and now what I'm going to do is, now, I learned this from yesterday when I did the seminar. I did this, and I got drips, and I roll it up the hill. Hopefully it ends up not going into the convention center, but so I just laid a trail for my dog. Now, is this realistic on a concrete? Not really, but I want to make sure I don't get too late. So we'll take an older dog. Come here. We'll put her. We'll use the little black dog now. Now you're going to see a different style of dog. She's a little bit more timid. Now, but the thing about this dog is, watch this dog's nose. This dog right here has a stronger tracking nose than that one. Here, heel, heel. Sit, sit. That tennis ball out there? Oh, what a trick I would have pulled on her. She'd have really been embarrassed. Oh, thank you. Browtine. And Browtine goes in for the retrieve. Good girl, come on. Good girl, good girl. Now, another dog that's really excited right now about what she's doing, loving what she's doing, right? This tennis ball smells like a shed antler. I just associated what could be a drug for a dog, a tennis ball. This is the epitome of life. This will get them going. I just associated it with a shed antler by putting scent on it. So we're going to use this liquid scent on tennis balls. I'm going to put pink ones in the timber and in the brush. Hard for them to see. Force them to use their nose. Color contrast. This brown dummy right here is designed to do that. It's harder for them to see this brown dummy. That's why we use it. Bird dogs and gun dogs, we start out with bright white bumpers. We go to colored ones. Shed dog, I start out with a bright white one, easy for him to see. I'll go to this one as soon as I'm really emphasizing the use of the nose. So now we got this scent thing. How did I start these dogs with their noses when they were little? It's easy because they're naturally going to use their nose. It's been bred into them. Remember why I said I like these English dogs? They got real natural game finding ability. This dog right here, we will start on her hunt command real soon. Her hunt command is find it. I gotta be careful when I say it because my dogs really I get their attention when I say find it. Find it. Boom, she's looking at me. This one, where? Sit. Find it is a hunt command for him. And the way I got find it to be, you don't have to use find it, you can use anything you want. Find the bone, dead bird, whatever you want, as long as you use the same one over and over and over again. Repetition, consistency, form habits. So here we are, back to food. Why do I always go to food with this one? She's gonna get fat is what she's gonna get. But I use this with a little dog because it's really motivational. It's gonna get him excited. I'll take food like this, and I'll take a circle about the size of this table. Now I can't do it right now because of the snow. I'll do it in the summer with grass. What I would do is, I'd use the snow. My dog can smell right through the snow, no problem. What I'd do is I wouldn't take her out in 12 inches of snow. Set your dog up to be successful. What I'd do is I'd take a little circle in my driveway and I'd put a little bit of snow. I call it cover. I always say use cover for your dog. And the first thing guys think of is, I got a CRP field down the road I could use. Way too big of a step, A to Z. Go from A to B. When I say cover, I mean enough grass this tall, much taller than what the rest of the grass around it. Snow this deep. This little dog right here going into cover this tall is like walking into a jungle. You don't need to overwhelm them. So take that little circle, sprinkle some food in it. I'll use slices of hot dogs or I'll use their actual food. I don't go out and buy special treats to train the dog, use their food. Sprinkle it in there, and what I'll do is I'll set the dog down downwind. And what happens is this dog puts her nose down. I put that dog down on here right now. She's going to put her nose down. She's going to start smelling. These dogs' sense of smell is unbelievable. She's going to start smelling, and she will smell the food. And as soon as she finds the food, her little tail is going to go like this, and she's really going to be happy, and she's going to eat it. And then she's going to eat another one. Then she's going to eat another one. All the while, I'm in the background, and I'm just going, find it, find it, find it, find it, find it, find it, find it. These dogs are triggered right now by that sound. That's conditioned response. The reason is because it has nothing to do with the words find it. She does not know what find it means. But when she's finding food and eating it and wagging her tail and happy, she heard me saying it in the background over and over and over and over and over again. Do that 3-4 times in a row, and I mean like days in a row or every other day, and all of a sudden hold your dog up and go find it, find it, find it, and watch her nose. Her nose is going to go like this, and she's going to be searching. The reason is because every time she hears that, something good happens. She gets to find something. She gets a reward. Find it for my little shed dog means there's something here to be found. So we start that early on with the nose, just getting them to use their nose. Easy, easy. So that's how I start my little find it commands. Now, we got the sight thing. We got the shape of it. We got the smell of it. The next thing we're going to do is we want the feel. This is finished dog stuff. Who's got older dogs here? How old?
7 and 8.
7 and 8.
14.
14. We got a senior citizen in the group. Who else got an older dog? 5. 8. 8. Some old dogs here. Is it too late to start with an old dog? Absolutely not. You tell me an old dog can't learn new tricks, I'm going to tell you you're a liar, okay? They can. They're super smart. The thing about it is bird dogs, you guys got older dogs, bird dogs or gun dogs? Part of the reason this is made out of this is for that. Transition them from a bird dog to a shed dog with a familiar feel and a new shape. Pretty easy to do that. I've done it. I did it with the 8-year-old dog. I told you about her. She's a good old dog. She's retired now. She's sleeping on my couch, I guarantee it. But that's why it is. For the pups, that's why it is that we use it for the idea of introducing them safely to it. The old dog, when we get our dog to pick this horn up, it's going to be a big step. I get this one a lot. I get the email a lot of, I used your dummy. Man, she loves it. She picks it up all the time, but she's really hesitant about that hard horn. Absolutely. Imagine if you hadn't introduced her to the shape in the first place. She really would not touch that thing. Here's how we're going to do it. This is one that I use, okay? This one's got a lot of sentimental value. My son shot a deer he's 11, he's right here. Shot his first deer. When we were tracking, it was late season, doe. When we were tracking it, we found this shed antler. People won't believe me, but I swear, that's what happened. We found the shed antler. It was 20 yards from where he shot it. It was a fresh drop. It was January 3rd or 4th when we shot that deer. So we found this one. I love this horn. Brings back a lot of memories. But I love it because it looks just like this one. This is why I use it when I introduce my dog. Make it as similar as possible. So I got this shed. It looks a lot like that. I'll use this one a lot when I introduce. I'm going to warn you, don't start using cutoffs. Here's the reason I don't use cutoffs. Cut this off, and what did I just eliminate? 90% of the scent from a fresh shed. Hair, blood, all that good scent for that dog, gone. Cut it. Now, who's cut a horn before? Anybody ever cut a horn off or cut your skull plate off? What does it smell like, Carson? Stinks, right? It smells like burnt hair. It stinks. Does that smell like a shed antler? No. Cut tines off, what is your antler going to smell like? I can see the black when guys cut them off. I can see the black. It's burnt. I guarantee you my dog smells that. These dogs can smell a pin drop of blood in a 5-gallon pail of water diluted. That's how strong their noses are. They smell that burnt. That doesn't have anything to do with the smell of an antler. So you might have the shape, but if you cut all the tines off and the base off, what does it look like? Might as well throw a stick for them, right? So I'm going to keep this shed intact, and I'm going to use real sheds. I'm still going to use this scent, because this scent is the scent I was using on here. The thing I'm changing is the way this thing feels. And my older dogs, I would never throw this for that young dog. These little dogs right here they turned a year December 26th. That one didn't pick up a shed antler until she was about 8 months old. That one picked him up a little bit later because she was with her owners for a little bit. They were from Wisconsin, so we didn't start her on hard horns until a little bit later. But I take this scent, put it on just the same. Now, Here's the lesson learned from yesterday. Again, I'm just like you guys. I am not the king of the dog training stuff. I make mistakes. Yesterday I made mistakes. I took a shed antler and I put it in one of these rows. I sent the dog in and she found it. Young dog. You know, these dogs aren't finished out yet. She picked it up. Oh, I was so excited. Come on, good girl. And she turns around and wham, she slammed it into a chair and it knocked it out of her mouth. And she stepped back. And I encourage her. You're okay, find it. Boom, she picks it up and she comes back and clank, she knocks it on another chair. I set that dog up in a really, really poor position for training because I made it really difficult. Now, here I am and I'm thinking, oh, what are these guys gonna think? My dog's afraid of sheds when she knocks them on chairs. I had to really encourage her. I had to send her back for it. We got through it. She got it to me. By hook or by crook, she got it to me. I'm not gonna do that today because I'm gonna learn from my mistake. We're gonna put it out here. Now, it's easy. This is easy. But envision yourself being able to do this, A, in the house, B, in the backyard, C, in the front yard, move to your neighbor's yard. Don't go from doing this in the hallway to a 40-acre field. What did you do? You went from A to Z. Your dog won't make those jumps. They can't do it. So, hard horn, we'll let little Artie here find the hard horn. Brow time, come here. Come on. Good girl. Do I got her leash or you got her leash? Sit. Training bag, guys, really good tool. I suggest them. Here's why. I got too much stuff and I can't hold on to it. And you saw my dog watching my hands. Oh, put your phones on silence. It's rude, right? When I got this training bag, I can get stuff out of my hands. You saw how the dogs are watching my hands. If you're a duck dog guy and you're casting, I want my hands free. Training bag. You don't have to buy this is a dog training bag. You don't have to have a special. Use a backpack. Use some type of a bag. This one right here. Heel. We're going to line her up, and we'll show you her pick this horn. And she'll probably be a little bit more delicate than she was with that dummy, but I guarantee you she'll pick it up. I guarantee you she'll come back with me. She'll have that same excitement. Sit. Sit. She's a pretty steady dog. She's not going anywhere. Artie. Good girl. Good girl. Come on. Come on. Good girl. Good girl. Now, that was no problem, right? Hundreds of times before she did this, that's what she picked up. We got her to this. And the first few times, we had to ease her into it. We really had to encourage her. We really treated her like, boy, she saved the world. The first time this dog finds a shed in the field, and she's done it now. We had him down in Iowa a couple weeks ago. We went down, Bill Winke from Midwest Whitetails had us come down, bring our dogs, shed hunt his properties. It was awesome. Great train. The reason I went, because I really think a lot of Bill Winke and Midwest Whitetails, but I also went because it's a great training opportunity. Set your dogs up for success. I just did a little blog for everythingshedDog.com. It's a website that we sell our stuff on. We do blogs for them. I wrote a little article about setting them up for success. Take them into areas that you know they're going to find sheds. My son right there likes fishing, okay? First time I took him, well, he's gone now, but first time I took him, he's bored already. First time I took him fishing, I did not take him to northern Minnesota muskie fishing because we'd have cast it all day long and maybe caught a fish. The first time, I would have woke him up the next day and he would have said, I think I'm going to sleep in, Dad. I'm not real interested in going fishing. I took him to my dad's pond and we caught hundreds of bluegills over and over and over and over and over. This little dog right here is a lot like my son when he was younger. What I got to do is I got to set this dog up for success. When I go shed hunting, here's what goes in my back pocket. A little shed antler. I carry it with me. And every 15, 20 minutes, if need be, when my dog loses focus, I drop an antler, I circle her back downwind, and boom, she finds it. This is training early on.
When you drop that antler, are they associating your smell with that antler?
Good question. The question is about scent, worrying about my scent. I don't. Here's why. Dogs smell in layers. They can separate every smell in this room. Guarantee you they do it. It's scent discrimination. That's how they do it. My scent is on this antler. Now, I'm not going to take this antler and go like this with it. I'm going to try to keep it as clean as possible. But I guarantee you my scent is always going to be on there. I trap a little bit. I do some snaring. When I set coyote traps or snares, I wear rubber gloves. Okay? Why do I do that? To keep my scent off of it. What does a rubber glove smell like? It smells like a rubber glove. guarantee you, when I handle this with a rubber glove, it smells like a rubber glove. So when I put rubber glove scent on traps and snares, coyotes aren't afraid of rubber gloves. They're afraid of human scent. That's where I try to keep my scent off. You're never going to beat this dog's nose. The thing about it is I stack the deck in my favor in training, and I put this scent on it. This smells like 100 shed antlers. If he can smell the little bit of scent that I've got on here, I guarantee you he smells the shed antler scent. If he's smelling the shed antler scent and my scent and the scent of whatever else it's been touching in my bag, what is he doing? He's using his nose. What am I trying to get my dog to do? Use their nose. I'm okay with it because they're using their nose. I guarantee you my dog will separate that scent. Now, when we go out in the field and he smells a real shed antler that I've never touched before, what does it smell like? It smells like this this antler that I was training with and put antler scent on it. The conditioned response is going to be there anyway because the scent is there. So I don't worry about it. I mean, I don't go like this with it, but I don't worry about it. These dummies have a rope. I hold the rope. I don't hold the dummy. The scent's still on the rope. Rope's right next to the dummy. You're never going to beat their noses. So when we go shed hunting, we get them excited about sheds. First thing I do when I walk away from the truck, I drop a shed antler. I go shed hunting. I circle back, and she finds a shed antler. Last thing we do before we put her up in the truck. Keep her excited about it. So there's all these little things that we do. So that kind of walks you through shape, scent, and feel. That's what we got to do. This is a kit. This has a booklet. Tells you about what I just did, but a lot more detail. It's got a bottle of scent. It's got a dummy. It's got a booklet. We sell these dummies separate. We sell white. We sell brown. Told you about that. We do that for the reason of the idea of forcing them to use their nose. We sell real shed antlers. Trust me, I didn't find this shed antler. I can't sell one of my shed antlers. I could not bring myself to do it. We buy these antlers, we sell them, and the reason is because I've got a lot of people that said, hey, I need a real shed. I've never found a shed, and I want to finish my dog out. Can I buy a shed from you? Yes. And they say, I'm thinking about just cutting one of my racks off. Don't do it. It's not going to help you. I'll sell it. I got a shed antler. Use a real shed antler. So that's part of our system. We also sell the scent separate. We go through this a lot, tennis balls and all that stuff. So does anybody else, I just went through a whole bunch of stuff. I don't expect you to grab everything I just said. Now we have a website. It's dogbonehunter.com. We got a Facebook page. We answer a lot of questions. I don't know if you guys have heard of the cool new thing. It's called the Facebook. Well, I just got onto it. I'm so behind the times, right? So I got a Facebook page, and we get questions, and we'll copy them, and we'll paste them, and then I'll answer them, and a bunch of people can see them. We do Twitter. We've got all this stuff. We got all this techie stuff. I feel like a real nerd, but we got it. We also have a thing, it's a text program. It's free. Everyone thinks, oh, you're making money. I'm not making a dime off of it. It's free. It's 36,000 is the number. You text DOGBONE, one word, to it. What we're going to do is we're going to use it to build a network. And what we're going to do is we're going to send out, for example, this week we sent out a text code. The text code was, you buy something from our website, because you can buy everything online. You can buy it at the retail stores. Fleet Farm sells it. Everything. ShedDog.com sells it. A lot of the big stores sell it. You take that, and we text it out, and we'll say, Fleet Farm had a big sale on it. So we're going to text that out to you. It's 40% off of these products. We did an offer where you buy it from us online between now and today, or between Friday and today, and we threw in a bottle of scent. It's 12 bucks. We gave you a free bottle of scent. So we're trying to build this network. I'm not going to Facebook you what I'm eating for dinner. I'm not going to tweet you what I'm wearing what I'm doing tomorrow night. I'm not going to do any of that stuff. We're using it as a training resource. Send us your pictures. We want to put pictures up. We just got a picture of that little terrier dog. We get all sorts of stuff. So that's good resources that we're trying to be able to help out with additional training stuff. I'm probably going to get kicked out here pretty quick. But anybody got any other questions right off the bat? Here's one.
You said when I talked to you earlier, you also track wounded animals.
Yes, we do.
How much changes then?
How much what?
How much changes from what changes you make in the dog?
He asked me about tracking and trailing. We do tracking and trailing with the same dog that we shed hunt with. Tracking and trailing is a lot of similar skills to our shed dog, using their nose. Natural. It's a lot of natural tracking. Same thing with a pheasant dog. So it's actually easier to train a tracking dog than a shed dog. I'm gonna get the boot out of here. Another quick one.
You mentioned earlier about the antler.
Yeah.
Bunch of chairs. Is there a point in time where it hitting stuff like simulating branches.
Yep.
Doesn't like get discouraged to leave it there.
Yes, confidence. And what it is he asked about different situations. You train for the situations you're going to hunt in. So I want to set them up for that stuff. If they're doing it real well in the cut grass, we're going to do it in a little bit of brush. We're going to do it in a little bit thicker brush. Incremental training. Simulate the real hunting situation.
How long do you have that since the antler you think have to be shed?
I think it lasts a long time, the hair and the blood. I think the other thing is bone smells itself. I've had a dog pick sheds that lay for 2-3 years in a CRP field. They smelled the bone. So it's hard to say. It's more important the scenting conditions than the amount of time that elapses. There's better conditions for smelling than others. Dry bony day, hard for any dog to smell. I don't care if it dropped yesterday. So, hey guys, I got a booth that if you got any questions, we're over in the corner. We're kind of by Bayside Archery. Feel free to stop by, see the dogs. If you got questions, my cell phone is on my packaging. Give me a call, send me an email. We'll help you out with it. I appreciate you guys sitting through that.